has ever rise from the WWE and NXT. And on this show, actually what happens behind the scenes when it comes to wrestling and some really neat stories and really deep diving into things. And it's going to be a little bit of a different show than what you normally hear
from the crowd.
And it's always kind of been the trajectory of our entire careers. Do you know what I mean? It's never been necessarily the in-ring that's going to blow people away when it comes to us. Like, are we very good at what we do? Absolutely. Promos are what made us stand out. When we had our time in Chikara or on any of the indies, it was always get in front of the camera and talk.
So we were like, let's create a show where we don't rely on having a match or a segment or whatever, where we just talk every single week.
You're the real Sting?
It's under debate.
Under debate. Was it the real Sting?
I don't know.
Unconfirmed.
Back to working on Wednesday nights.
I want a piece. We want a piece. Dumped on my head by Dollar Bill. You know what I mean?
Dollar
was it Dollar Bill? What's his
Dollar
name?
King.
Dollar King.
The Dollar King.
What's his real name?
Top Dollar.
Top Dollar. You know? And then now we're working for the other guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. What is happening?
I'm not sure that there has ever been a debut of two guys who were in NXT, another promotion, who got such raving reviews, a pop, a Twitter. You were trending all over Twitter for 2 days. Like, I have not seen that. I don't think I've ever seen that.
We could chop down the big redwood. No problem. Yeah.
When Darby's music hit, and then as he came out, him and Sting come out, and there's this pop, and I felt alive again for the first time in like 2 years, and I mean that in every form possible. Like, this electricity went through me, and I was like, "This is what it's supposed to feel
This is
like."
what we've been missing. Like, you feel alive. Woo,
man,
getting turned on over
here.
here.
So nice.
Pace, boys, step right up, no problem.
I ended up teaming with a guy named Novocaine. Novocaine. And the thing was, I started as a referee, and I was his crooked referee, and then so he would take me and train me as a wrestler. So our team name was Under Construction. Then as a tag team, we had a crooked ref.
That was me.
So eventually, he does the big schmoz for us, and we become a group, which Novocaine becomes the singles competitor, and we become the tag team known as Under Construction 2.0. Then the inevitable heel turn happens. So Under Construction is done.
Yeah, we ditched Novocaine. See you later.
No more Under Construction. We
dropped it.
2.0.
We're just 2.0. That's where 2.0 came from.
And now we're back to 2.0.
We're back to 2.0.
It's one of those things. It just it feels like it's the proverbial thing that you always hear of, like, here's the ball. Dude, let's see if you can run.
Like
you gotta run.
It takes balls to do that with two new guys in your company, to put that trust in them.
Yep.
To go out on national television in prime time against three of your top guys.
Yeah.
You know, it takes balls to do that. And not everybody's willing to do it, but they did.
Certainly debate with us.
Sure.
Like, can we entertain? Sure, but can you go?
Yeah.
Have to see.
How are you going to be received in this moment? You know?
Yeah. There's a lot of variables that could make it go wrong. So it
was a good night.
We got a problem with you. You're gonna get it. You will if you're a friend of the show. Then you'll know this for sure. The show must go on. The show must go on. The show must go on. The show must.
Welcome to Behind the Show. My name is Aaron Amadeus, joined with 2.0 the show.
Here we are.
Matt Lee and Jeff Parker.
Hello.
What's going on, boys?
Yeah, it's been a minute, Aaron. Where were you last week? You left us hanging.
Unbelievable.
We had
in the cottage.
Yeah,
I was in the cottage.
Americans know what a cottage is.
Of course they do.
Do they? I don't.
Chalet.
Chalet? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was camping.
There you go. You're camping.
Ooh, that's what I was doing. And you guys were on the biggest edition of Rampage. Let's just say there was a little bit of a debut on that episode, and you guys kind of main evented it, just to say.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, we were there. We were definitely there.
Involved.
15,000 people in the United Center, Chicago.
Crazy.
It was insane. You know, you look up to the rafters, you see all the Blackhawks Stanley Cup banners, the Chicago Bulls championship banners, the retired jerseys.
Let's just talk about that ovation for CM Punk.
Oh,
the ovation for CM Punk.
Yeah, it was great.
Unbelievable being in the arena for that one. It was one
shaking.
that you felt. It was a great night. Great night.
We went to watch it live, like on the floor. We were like under the bleachers. It was pretty cool. Pretty great.
Wow, that's amazing. And honestly, what a week. And I think regardless of CM Punk and all that other stuff, I think we've got some more important news on Matt on your front. And I think a lot of people are saying congratulations on the chat. So maybe you can tell us congratulations for what, my friend?
Well, my wife gave birth to our first child. Baby Jack has finally arrived, guys. And it's pretty wonderful. He sleeps a lot. He poops a lot. And pretty much it right now. Being a dad, very easy. It's very easy, guys.
It's very easy.
It's very easy being a dad.
First days. It's tough. It's tough at the beginning.
Yeah, just wait a minute.
It's easy.
I can
looking with my eyes closed.
I'm so looking forward to the toddler phase of just constant screaming in your household. Oh, I can't wait.
It's gonna be a disciplinarian.
Disciplined dad.
Yeah, I'd kind of want to see that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Little baby gets up, Daddy, you want to taste?
Spencer here just said Daniel Garcia got a new brother, and yes,
he did. Yeah,
Daniel Garcia,
Daniel,
our son,
no longer my only son. Daniel. I texted him that the other day. He texted congratulations. I said, "Thank you. You're no longer my only son.
No longer an only child."
Yeah.
Awesome. So, obviously, once again, from myself and everyone else, congratulations, Jeff. Hopefully, see what happens with you. I don't know.
I'm in no rush. I'm in absolutely no rush. I have a dog, and it's great, and freedom, and I sleep. It's wonderful.
There you go. Right, you're gonna get some sleep, and I know probably Matt's gonna fall asleep, so that it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's rough.
Yeah, you won't get much sleep. You won't get much sleep. But today we're going to be talking a little wrestling, like always, and we're going to be talking about probably the year that I think the three of us have a lot in common. 1997. We are going to be talking about what a lot of people consider to be either the greatest year of professional wrestling or the weirdest year of professional wrestling.
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff.
Great time. It was especially for us because we were like coming of age. You know what I mean? We were 13, 14 years old. Yeah, and it's personally my favorite year.
It's hard to debate. Like especially for like you're saying, where it fell in our lifetime, it was perfect. Yeah. It was absolutely everything that a teenage boy could want.
So on the WWF side, you had Heart Foundation getting back together, which seemed inconceivable.
Yes.
Like you could never imagine these guys getting back together. No. It just
the cuts were too deep.
It blew my mind as a child. It blew my mind that these two brothers that hated each other, Owen and Brett, ended up getting back together.
I need you.
On the other channel,
Owen, I need you.
You have the peak of the NWO.
They want you to fight. Come on, don't give them what they want. I mean, think about the angle between the Heart Foundation, being heels and faces in different countries. I mean, it was just unheard of. And I mean,
Canada-US thing on top, just unbelievable.
Absolutely wow.
The biggest thing in history, the Montreal Screwjob. I mean, there is so much to go about in 1997. Oh yes,
Wrestling with Shadows.
Come on,
how cool was that?
That's an episode on its own.
I think we need to do a Wrestling with Shadows episode because
that'll be great. So let me just put this out there. If you want to get on the show and behind the show, I should say, and you want to be a guest and talk about your favorite moment from 97, anything that happened. We can talk about the screw job in Montreal. We can talk about anything. It's going to be a very interesting conversation.
What else gets overlooked in 97 is the debut of Bill Goldberg.
The streak started.
It was the hardest thing going. A
lot of stuff to talk about. Email us right now. I'll send you the link to join the show. It's the show rules at gmail.com.
The rise of the Crow Sting, this piece of garbage.
Sting. Yeah, that was the first time he put his makeup on. We've actually got a really great list, and it's courtesy of What Culture, our great friends over there at What Culture. They do such a great job. Yeah, other than that Simon guy there, right? So
it was Sting. The first time he ever descended from the rafters was in the United States.
That's what he told us last week. Yeah,
so that's a fun little tidbit of news. But you got Crow Sting. There's so much.
It's insane how much stuff happened. Not to mention ECW, their first pay-per-view. Guys, we could go on all night about 97, and
maybe we will.
We
absolutely will. The rise of Jeff Farmer.
Thank you, Dan.
The rise of Jeff Farmer. So let's look at some of the list over here. So the number one that I have on What Culture's list, I should say number 9, is ECW talent showing up on Raw. So a lot of people don't remember this, but ECW and the WWE had a relationship at that point in 97, and you started seeing, we saw, I think you did see Rob Van Dam, you saw Blue Meanie, some of these fellows from ECW showing up on Sabu. I remember that he came on.
Jumping off the R.
Yeah.
Yes.
So go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
No. I was gonna. You were leading right into it.
I was gonna say. So I grew up in a household we didn't have cable, so I get a 1-hour clipped version of Raw on CFCF 12 in Montreal, if you remember, at noon on Saturday mornings. So a 1-hour version of the 2-hour Raw, and they didn't. It was just the highlights. So I didn't get to see they didn't show the ECW stuff. So I only see it with like revisionist history on the DVDs and stuff. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah. I didn't see it. You just saw the main angles, I guess.
And that
wasn't one of them.
That alone, as crazy as the year was in pro wrestling, that just goes to show what the world was like. Like you didn't have this on demand. You didn't have this instant gratification where you can watch all this stuff. Like unless you had a VCR, you'd probably miss a show.
You missed it. And
if you weren't there,
it was just gone
at 8 o'clock. It was just forever.
It's gone into the air, and you'll never see it.
No, it was on.
Maybe get pictures in the magazine.
In the magazine,
we talked about that.
We talked about.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. But that's what it was, right? You get a highlight version, a cut down version. You can get the whole thing. It's crazy.
This is pre-internet for the WWF at the time. I mean,
the whole part,
I mean, it changed. It changed everything. So, other than ECW, we've got some other really interesting things. We have, half of WrestleMania was a main event for Psycho Sid.
WrestleMania 13. We're talking.
Yes. Yeah. See,
he had the rights of Stone Cold.
Yeah,
there's so much.
There. Oh my goodness! I mean,
it's
you
insane.
talk about Stone Cold HBK. I mean, and so So you're talking again. I'm looking at this great list from our friends at What Culture. Starrcade's main event, and a main event had not wrestled. Half of Starrcade's main event had not wrestled since mid 1996. Right. Wow. It's insane to think about that, right? And then think Starrcade in 1997. Who was the special guest referee?
As Bret Hart, right?
Yes, and that was Hogan versus Sting. Anyways, we're going to get into that, how it led into that.
Sting. But it's a sore subject, Sting, Aaron. It's a very sore subject.
I know.
Who would have thought this piece of garbage 25 years later would be a thorn in our side?
A real pain in the arse.
You face paint your ass on out of here, Sting.
There you go.
I'm sick and tired of being dumped off my head by this guy.
The reverse DDT.
Tired of it. The slop drop. It's not a scorpion death drop. It's a slop drop.
Okay. Right, Sting.
Let me. We got John who wants to join the show. I'm going to send him out the link right now. And if you want to get on behind the show, once again, all you got to do is email us at the show rule. I was going to say the show rocks, but the show rule. It does rock.
Show rule, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. The show rules at gmail.com. Come on, turn your camera on, turn your camera off.
All right, I got the former Ronson Reed over here who's watching right now. I'm calling you out, Jonah. Jonah is here. He goes, bro, I'm watching. Bear in mind, I'm a mark. But Masawa versus Kawashi matches 1997.
Okay.
Sorry, John. I have to read it out.
What is that?
But okay, you love Japanese wrestling. We get it.
The All Japan?
Yeah, what is this? Was that in the Tokyo Dome? The Egg Dome?
The
Budokan? Where was that?
The Korkyuan.
We're just teasing.
Oh, get him on the show. Come on the show. That'd be fun. Oh, like this over here.
Did the chew of the week a couple weeks ago.
You did do a chew.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a really good chew, by the way. That was a really good chew. Very smart. 1997, great year. The height of the Monday Night Wars, NWO, DX, and puppies. Well, yes, except for the last part, it's hard to look back now. That's another thing, too, as a dad, and now as a dad as well. It's hard to look back at some of the 97, 98, 99 stuff now and be like, you cringe a little bit at the stuff that they were getting away with.
Yeah, but I mean, as kids, we loved it.
Oh my!
We loved it.
Yeah, at the
time, it's what made it.
Come on,
it's what so that the rowdy crowd is such a big part. That frat boy, that the fraternity atmosphere that was at these Nitros and Raws is what made it, must see. It was a party.
Like you'd see it on TV, and it was just, I need to go to this.
It's just
like, I have to go.
A great time. It looked like I don't know, but
yeah. Oh God,
played-
Sambuca
so-
hates me.
So that
God, I
stuff,
cringe
like-
at you, Aaron. Snowflake Aaron. Well, hey,
Wow.
it is what it is.
that
I have a
Sambuca
daughter.
that
It's
said
hard to
that?
watch
It's
it now.
Sambuca.
It's Sambuca. I have a daughter. It's hard. You'll understand. Let's get on the show right now. John from Wrestling Scoop.
Oh, here we
Whoa.
go.
The scoop.
John, what's going on,
Sorry, I had to
buddy?
put something up in the background here.
The scoop.
Welcome.
DiBiase Duggan.
Wow.
What's
up, my dude?
Oh, gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Very good. Very good.
Aaron, good to see you back on here.
Thanks, my friend.
Missed you last week.
Oh, these guys did great. Just
Oh no, they did fantastic. They did fantastic. So, Matt, Jeff, were you guys in Milwaukee last night?
No,
No.
we were not.
Oh, bummer.
Had the week off because
No,
of,
I had a baby. So
Well, yes, understandably.
fresh
Come
baby.
on, what?
Yeah. We're
What
trying to be less
child
dead
really-
dads in professional wrestling.
We're
these
trying,
days.
we're trying to
Yeah.
enhance the
Yeah.
role of the wrestler.
My
dad,
friend, you
you
were just
know?
there.
1987, I would have been there.
Oh, you wouldn't even been
Yeah.
there for the birth.
No.
Burrito.
Yeah.
So it's 87.
Well, we missed you guys here in Milwaukee. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be at the show last night, but did watch it. The Milwaukee crowd did a great job. I'm excited that you guys are talking about 1997 because being a little bit older than you guys, I remember this. I was in my mid-20s when all this stuff went down, and this was an excellent year as a wrestling fan. All the storylines, all the angles may not have been the greatest, but it's still, when you've got, the whole thing with Scott Hall showing up on Nitro all of a sudden out of the blue after he had just been on WWE TV, then Kevin Nash shows up, and Bash at the Beach when Hulk Hogan ends up the year before turns on WCW, and just the build out of the NWO and everything with Sting, and then the 172-0 with Goldberg, and obviously the mistake WCW made by Goldberg versus Hogan. Well, no, that was 98.
You're giving our
I'm
whole
jumping
list
ahead.
away
I'm
there.
jumping ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But it is crazy to look at it in retrospect across let's just say the three major North American promotions, not to disregard the All Japan references for Jonah over there.
Yeah,
but
sorry, Jonah.
how many things just happened, and how many things set the table for what was going to happen over the next course of the 2-3 years.
And to your point, I think we remember all the highlights because there's so many highlights.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on these undercards.
Some terrible stuff.
Here's a lot of Scotty Riggs in 1997. No disrespect to Scotty Riggs.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
You get your
Loved his.
you get your
you know what I mean?
Kurgan versus Chains.
Yeah, you had
stuff
the
like
Los
that, like-
Boricuas and the Truth Commission and all that.
Hey,
Oh my goodness.
we can't forget about Horace Hogan,
Of course.
Oh my God.
or was he
Bad
1998? That might actually been 1998. I'd have to look that up on the Google and see. But 97 though was a catalyst year for a lot of things that were going to end up happening. I mean, WCW was in its prime. WWF at the time was battling back and changing everything. ECW was still right in the mix of everything. So you had three great promotions. Gee, it kind of seems almost like 2021 right now, with the big guys up in New York and that group down in Florida, led by Tony Khan, and just so many other things, Ring of Honor, MLW, NWA, obviously Impact, so much. I'm feeling right now like I did back in 1997.
Yeah,
That's important.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a buzz there, and I think a lot of it's with the crowd. For example, started on the independents where it's like that ECW crowd that disbanded, had to have somewhere to go, and that took some years. But you have these diehard fans of certain things, like you'll take GCW for example. They have this fan base that's just rabid for what they have. Even Victor was saying here in the chat, is like the only thing I could think of when I watched the crowds back in the day was that I wouldn't be able to see anything because of all the signs in the crowd.
Yeah.
But that's part of
Right?
it. That's part of it, right?
That's sea of signs.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Jeff. And you know what? I think AEW is actually doing a very good job of that now, especially with CM. But you see all these signs in the AEW when they're coming out, and it's very reminiscent of a guy at my age and your age as well. Like it brings you back to 97. Anyways, John, if we had to ask you one One thing that stands out in 97 that when you think wrestling, you think 1997. You can't pick 5. You can only pick 1. What is that one thing?
Boy, it's tough. There's 2 that come to mind, one from WCW, one from WWF, and obviously they're going to be the 2 top ones everybody's going to talk about. I think it has to be the Montreal Screwjob, because that changed wrestling. Everything surrounding that changed wrestling as we knew it at the time.
Yeah.
You know, Vince McMahon was basically outed as the owner of the WWF. You know, we saw Bret Hart do the WCW on air after that, and kayfabe ended right then and there. If there was any little bit of it left for anybody, it ended on that night in Montreal. So
it was definitely a catalyst for where things went for the next few years, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a great point. John, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Milwaukee.
Thanks.
Sorry
Appreciate
that you guys
it,
couldn't
man.
be there.
Take it easy, man.
And Matt, congratulations again on
Thank
on
you.
the new addition to the
Thank
family.
you very much. Thank you very much.
Take it easy, guys.
Take
Let's
care.
go.
Yo,
Love it.
Oh yeah, scoop master.
Wrestle Scoop Scope.
So
Love
to his point, saying that kayfabe died, or I'm not sure how to word it, but I think my point is, so being 13 years old, I was in the Molson Center in Montreal that night for the screw job, and it was like, I have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize that there was a big screw job or whatever, that wasn't the plan finish. Even moving forward, like it wasn't until Wrestling with Shadows came out a year later that it pieced it all together for me. I was like, oh gee, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. Like I'm not reading, the Wrestling Observer as a 13-year-old kid.
No, and that was the only one that would have given you any of that inside information.
I had no idea.
Like
I was 17 at the time, right? So I had a little bit more of, I remember watching Off the Record on TSN, and Bret Hart had just the WWF was
right
in
off the
Detroit.
right. See, I missed those episodes because
Yeah.
I didn't have cable.
Didn't have cable.
So I missed it took me a whole year to get caught up on all that.
Yeah, some of that stuff is I'm telling you, if you watch it now, you're just sitting there like, I can't. You're watching it now, like, oh, that's a normal interview, but like back in '97, you're just like,
no.
What is going
was,
on?
I still have
guys,
some of those on VHS
you
somewhere
can-
in a box, and they were. I'm sure they're on YouTube. And
You
stuff,
should tell
but-
people out there right now, if you're out there, go search TSN Off the Record, Michael Landsberg wrestling episodes. Guys, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
That was the first time where it's like you're exposed to that breaking down of the fourth wall,
Mhm.
like because you had wrestlers talking about the inside workings of wrestling, which was just and telling their
Insane.
stories, their real life stories, as real
and
people.
they get everybody on, right? Brett, Bulldog, Vince is on,
yeah.
Bischoff's
And
on.
I'm not
Hogan's on.
I'm not a Landsberg fan, but he did a great job when it came out with when he interviewed Brett and when he interviewed like Flair and McMahon.
Oh, yeah.
Like he really
It went on for
held
years
everybody.
too, right? Like till
Oh,
2008 or
Yeah.
whatever. So what's the deal? You have heat with Landsberg, Aaron? What's going on?
Oh yeah.
Got
But
Landsberg.
give us
Wouldn't
some
pay for a steak dinner.
This is behind the show.
Let's go.
He wouldn't pay for a dinner. The guy was
Give him-
cheap.
He didn't
No,
pay
he's
for
a nice-
it.
he's a nice guy. We just
Wow.
had
What
heat
kind of
over
dinner are we
something.
talking?
We just had heat
McDonald's,
over
or-
something.
It was obviously the
for a
keg.
It's Cake Steakhouse in Bar.
day. I like that. A little inside. I like that. Email the show. The show rules at gmail.com. Come on. We're going to get to Bret Hart. We're going to get to the most infamous moment in probably professional wrestling history.
Yeah.
And love to get everybody in the chat's opinion. Appreciate over the everybody that we can see on YouTube right now. We're going to fix the Facebook situation very soon. I promise you that.
Yeah, we're gonna get
And,
there.
There was
We'll
there's a
get there.
comment.
It's been-
We're
been a
kind of
little bit.
glossing over one of the biggest moments of '97, Halloween Havoc 97. Jacqueline against the Disco Inferno.
Oh, how could you not talk about that? But truth, like you say it as a joke, but that was cool.
You know what's funny? I think a few months before that, the Disco didn't want to lose to Jacqueline. Actually, ended up losing his job over it. And when they hired him back, I think one of the conditions, and Di, you can correct me, was that he would have to put over Jacqueline or something.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he ended up
Really?
doing it.
Then
'cause,
he ended up doing it.
Man wanted to work.
Hey, let's see.
why
Everyone's got to
not?
work.
It was a different time.
It was a very
Absolutely.
different
Different
time.
time.
What
Let's
else,
talk.
Gary?
Let's
Dan
talk
was-
about. Sorry to interrupt you there, Jeff. Let's
No,
talk
it's all
about Vince Russo. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the time when Vince Russo makes his big ascension into the wrestling business. He was the editor of the WWF magazine, which I know as you guys as kids, I would walk into the magazine store and open it up and look at the pictures and, you know, just look at the pictures.
Cigarette and chips shop.
Cigarette. You go to the store that sells the cigarettes.
We talked about magazines a lot last week. You know where you get your magazines, where you buy your chips and your cigarettes. He goes, yeah, the convenience store. I go, oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Chip shop.
Yeah, and then we did that, and then so Vince Russo gets to this position because he did so well with the WWF magazine, and now he's the head writer for WWF Raw, and that right there changed. I mean, you could say him with his ideas at 97, it changed everything, right?
Yeah, it did. I mean,
do you remember Raw magazine?
Yes,
like
I
the
do.
branch of right that would blow my mind. I think he was in charge of that.
Yeah,
and remember the spreads, the Sunny Sable
all the spreads. But when you think about it, right? Like, and this is something
I went off topic.
No, but it's on topic in a way because
I had the Sunny pictures on my wall.
That's what Vince Russo was kind of in charge of, right? And this is just before that Attitude Era thing's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But the Raw magazine is like that.
It was
the little beginning.
It felt
yes,
so edgy
of what the Attitude Era became. Like
the catalyst right there. It was the match.
And I think Vince Russo talks about this all the time, where they have a meeting, right? All the big wigs at Titan Towers or whatever. And Vince comes in and he throws the Raw magazine down on the table and he goes, this is what our product needs to be. And then everybody turns to Russo. And I think that's like how the chain of him taking charge happened. You know?
Yeah. Let's once again, you want to get on the show, email us at I keep messing this up.
Wow.
Even though
Rusty this week.
I don't know. Rusty. I had a hard day today. Sorry. Email us at theshowrules@gmail.com. We'll get you on right away. Let's go to Boston right now. Tyler from Boston.
Tyler from Boston.
What's up, buddy?
What's up? Here he is.
Look at this guy. Welcome.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course.
Awesome.
As we talked about last time with the age thing, I wasn't alive at this time.
Not alive.
Unbelievable.
Which is so many people around like your age like find it crazy. Like wrestling fans, they're like, wow, like I'll listen to podcasts and they'll be talking about like SmackDown from like 2002, and they're like, half of the people listening to this probably haven't been alive, which is crazy.
Yeah, right.
But
that's
one thing that's a little different that I want to talk about is the Patriot.
Yeah,
because he had like that, like really, and he just passed away, R.I.P. And he had that like random like shoehorn into the main event, had his like little thing with Brett, and then just gone.
Yeah. It was the strangest thing. Like this character out of nowhere in the summer just appeared on television, and we were supposed to take him seriously. And he was in the top spot,
right,
defending America,
right.
But nobody gave a shit.
And you're forgetting the key point that a lot of young wrestling fans don't realize. His theme music is Kurt Angle's theme music.
Yeah.
So it all started with the Patriot.
I think I feel like they used it for Mark Henry too, or someone. Like they used it for someone else before, like when he was USA Mark Henry or something. I'm not completely sure. I think one more person had it.
It's possible.
I don't have a recollection of it, but it doesn't mean it's
there might be one more. Yeah.
You ever think if you want to get conspiracy theorists here, put on your tinfoil hat? So they pair Brett with the Patriot.
Yeah.
Right. Brett's the champion.
Right.
And it's almost like to kind of devalue him.
In a way.
And then you have Shawn Michaels and Undertaker on the top of the card above that at those two pay-per-views.
Yeah, because is that the Cell, right?
They had the Ground Zero. They did I think it was a DQ finish leading to Hell in a Cell the next month in October.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But imagine if it was Brett in those spots. Does that even happen? You know, because I think it devalued Brett to the point where they're like, oh, we can just move on from.
In a way,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because he wasn't even
it's
really
just
like
conspiracy theories. You know,
he had the belt, but
out there
they prioritized other people.
Right.
Just that is interesting to think about.
It's interesting. And then here's a question for all of you. You think about the 97, I think is probably one of the most famous years for factions, right? So you got the Hart Foundation, you got DX. The one that stands out to me that made, I think, the most impact, who produced the biggest star, and I do not feel, looking back now, and I've watched a lot of episodes from Raw 97, 98, I do not think The Rock would be as over as he is today if he was not in the Nation of Domination, because he had the ability to get all those taglines and catch lines. He got it from Ron Simmons, right?
Sure.
So do you think The Rock would, I mean, he would have been a star, don't get me wrong, but do you think he would have been the caliber of star if he didn't get showcased in the Nation of Domination, if that didn't exist?
I feel like it would have gotten there one way or another because
I mean, maybe not
how good he was, like, and creative and whatnot. But it certainly helps to put you in a situation where you can be not a super focal part, but you can do your little thing to stand out within the size of that group.
Who knows?
So,
if the Nation never comes along, maybe he never gets that opportunity, and he's injured, and maybe there's another injury, and then it's see you later.
Yeah,
and it never happens.
People
it almost
hated
happened
Rocky
to
Maivia.
Yes.
You look at John Cena. If that rap thing never happens,
yes,
and he talks about it himself. He's like, I was at the end of the line, like I was going to be cut. You know? And it's just, sometimes luck.
I want to dig deeper into this one over here, Tyler. So if you think of anything from '97 or from that period that you know of, tell me what one thing stands out to you. It's the screw job in Montreal. Is it the faction? Is it the injury to Stone Cold? Is it any of those things that happened?
I mean, there's a lot of big things. I'd say it's like one of the most important years
because it's Stone Cold. I didn't. I'm sorry.
It's like if it wasn't, for things that happened in that year, who knows where the business would be?
For sure,
not wrong.
It's changing. I mean, there could be no WWE.
Absolutely, it was right there.
Absolutely,
it was right there.
Very,
there's so much going into it. I mean, it's a great year. And was that the year also with like the faction wars with like Los Boricuas and stuff?
Yeah, that was the theme of Survivor Series '97 was gang.
Okay. I need to make sure. Yeah, maybe that was a few.
DOA was in that too.
Yeah,
DOA, Los Boricuas, and Nation, right?
Truth Commission,
Art
Foundation.
There's so many
amazing.
like
yeah. And it's sad to think there's only one surviving member of the Heart Foundation, right? I mean, it's
there's ridiculous. That picture. You see that picture of them in '97, and then everybody's in black and white except for Brett.
It's great. Another thing is
pretty sad.
If what happened didn't happen, where Brian Pillman would have been, if he was still around and was able to wrestle, and how big of a star he could have been in the Attitude Era.
I think he was in rough shape at the end there in '97 because
I mean, who knows?
In '96, but
the ankle, right? Yeah, that fused.
Because he could like barely walk outside of the ring, right? He was just like
pretty much. That's my understanding.
It's like stuff like that would never happen nowadays with doctors and all that.
Let's hope, right? I mean,
I'd hope so.
Most important thing, right? Tyler, enjoy yourself, enjoy Boston.
I will.
And go Habs, go.
Yeah. Not this again. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. To get on the show, email us.
Dan brought something up here in the chat, and I think this is really good.
We're going to read some chat.
To have some people to jump
Jeff's in charge of the chat
and tell what you guys are. So Dan said best theme music of 1997.
Oh yeah, best theme music.
Start throwing them out there, and let's figure out.
So to me,
narrow it down.
I remember. So being at Survivor Series '97, they played a clip for the next month's pay-per-view, which was In Your House Did Generation X, and that was the debut of the DX theme
music.
It just blew my mind. This like all of a sudden wrestling was becoming cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Wrestling was not cool. Okay, for a very long time, but we loved it anyways. We dealt with the shame. We loved it anyways. Okay, and all of a sudden it was becoming cool. Like there's this neat rap theme. Like it was wild, right?
But do you remember when they were coming out to pay-per-views? Sorry, to the main event, they would have like that theme music. Would dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
And they don't do that anymore. Yeah, and it built up that massive. And there's so much about '90s.
Like a big match.
Yeah.
Yes. There's just so much stuff about '97. We're gonna dig deeper into the Nation of Domination, The Rock, because I think that gets overlooked a lot. And I think someone posted it out in the chat about The Rock and his feud with Triple H that really put him over. But I don't know.
Earlier, the Mick Foley man.
I was just going to read that one too.
Wow! Yes.
Mick Foley, friend of the show, Mick Foley.
Oh yes, he is. I saw his tweets. He loves you boys.
Eric Davis, he's saying you can't talk about 1997 without mentioning the greatest WrestleMania match of the '90s: Hart versus Austin. WrestleMania 13. No question about it. I mean, that is my all-time favorite, I think, match.
I think so, too.
About the realism in that match. Ken Shamrock played such a role. Anyway, guys, I could talk all day about it.
Oh, yeah, I think my goodness. I thought you were going to mention Owen versus Stone Cold in Montreal. People don't talk about that one either.
I mean, it was like 5 minutes long. It was Austin. I know. So if Austin doesn't get dropped on his head in '97, does he become the star that he does?
I think the time that he had off to not be a wrestler,
Dude.
and you want to see him, but you can't see him wrestle or fight.
Yeah.
And he's just put in all these situations that you're just, this guy's the coolest guy.
It made you starved to see him. Go back and watch. I think it's September 27th, the Raw from Madison Square Garden. Owen Hart's in the ring, and Austin comes out of the crowd, and just Owen doesn't see it coming. Austin's coming towards Hardcam. Austin has his back to him. Owen has his back to him, and he just smokes him, absolutely smokes him. And that's when the police fucking get all over him, right?
Yeah.
And Austin, McMahon comes into the ring, and he starts, he backs everybody off, and that's when I appreciate the fact you and the World Wrestling Federation care. I also appreciate the fact, hell, you can kiss my ass. And he just stuns Vince for the first time. It's just,
I appreciate the fact that
you can kiss my ass.
What a line.
It's so good.
97, the birth of Mr. McMahon, too.
Yeah,
You think about these things.
You
Let's
can
go right now.
6 months. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, let's go to Alan, because there's a lot to get into in 97. Remember, if you want to get on the show, behind the show, chit chat with 2.0 AEW's
I like reading the
brightest
chat.
stars. I love it. Email us at theshowrules@gmail.com. Let's go to Alan. Alan, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up,
Hey
Alan?
guys, how are you doing?
Very good. Yourself?
Fantastic.
Oh, I'm good. Hey, Matt and Jeff, I just want to congratulate you guys on getting signed to AEW.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and getting thrown in there right away with 3 of the toughest guys in that roster. It's a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You want a job, you go get it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Right. When you see an opportunity, you seize it. Like when you talk about 97, like for me, I think even just 96 to 98, like just those 3 years alone, like we talk about 97, but I want to say like cumulatively, all those 3 years were like some of the most pivotal moments in like WWF history.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You guys were talking about The Rock earlier. It just reminded me of I actually watched the promo the first time he had one he had with when he first joined the nation. So he came out, and I remember his promo. He didn't come out like yelling at the crowd and saying you guys suck and that kind of thing. The first thing he yelled out, the first thing he just said was just "Die, Rocky, die," and then he said, "That's what you've been chanting at me for 5 months." And then he goes on to clearly explain, because the Nation of Domination at the time was seen as sort of like this paramilitary Black Panthers kind of spin-off.
Yeah, they treaded those lines for sure.
Yeah, and The Rock clearly said, this ain't a race thing, this ain't a color thing, it's a respect thing. So I'm glad he at that time put the stamp on there. In like the late 90s, when like racial issues weren't even much of a topic in the mainstream like society. So they just said, look, this isn't about what the color of my skin is. This is about getting respect. I wasn't getting respect as Rocky Maivia. Because even in that same year, I remember like in Wrestlemania, he was fighting this guy named the Sultan, who was actually Rikishi later on. And it was like, the corny.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like we all look back fondly on these years, but there's some real misses in there. The Sultan.
There's some bad stuff in there.
Come on.
There's some
I'm looking at the Karrion Kross mask that was on Monday Night Raw. The mask.
We're not gonna have. There's no Karrion Kross
Killer Kross.
No cross.
Okay, no crosstalk. Okay, but yeah, I don't know. Like 97 was just looking back at it.
What's your favorite moment from 97? If you had to pick one, what's your favorite one?
So I didn't understand the screw job at the time. I guess
same.
I know it was too young, right? Yeah. I think my favorite moment was, and this I hope it's PG, but it's got to be the Brian Pillman Goldust storyline.
Really?
Winner gets Marlena. Yeah. I thought that was just the craziest thing ever.
Pretty wild.
I don't remember.
You have to wear a dress.
You did end up having to wear a dress.
Yeah. I think Brian Pillman came out on top of that. Feud, and then I think he literally carried poor Marlena off.
Yeah, he did.
And I don't know what he said afterwards, but it was just like, they disappeared to some hotel room in Minneapolis, and it's like, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on, but we don't want to talk about it on live television. But then, of course, the tragedy is that what happened, and then it's just I think I was watching the Dark Side of the Ring episode about Brian Pillman, and you got to think about like if he had lived, like how much of a star would he have been, like compared to like Austin and The Rock.
Absolutely,
it was. But yeah, that's like one of my favorite moments. I remember also just if I can close off, just at the time, 97, I guess, was a weird year for a wrestling fan, especially if you're from Canada, because, most of us are. Because, Bret Hart was like our hero. And even after he turned heel in the WWF sense, I'm still cheering for him. Because he's doing the anti-American stuff. And I'm like, I gotta cheer for Canada. I got no choice, right? It's so weird. It's in a bizarre world.
They painted you into a corner.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you gotta stand up for Canada. And it was just very strange for me to be like, cheering on Bret Hart, but like he's facing the Undertaker.
I'll tell you this, Alan. He was proud to be your hero.
It's not easy being a hero.
He was proud to be your hero.
Oh, absolutely! Like I think Bret Hart is still our hero, man. I mean,
always.
Say, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Okay,
Alan, thank you so much for coming on behind the show.
Thank you.
You've been
Have a good night.
You want to get on the show? Email us at the show.
What do we got going in the chat here?
We got Sposto, Joe Sposto,
Joe,
big time friend of the show.
What's he saying?
How about ECW's influence on WWF? They devoted half an episode of Raw to plugging their first pay-per-view.
Yeah, no question about
Strange times.
Hey, Joe, why don't you come on? What's the problem here?
Yeah, come on down.
What do we got? Yeah, don't forget Goldust Pillman coming up a lot here.
Yeah, it is. It really left its mark on people, I guess.
What else we got?
Vince's dumb head shake cell. I know exactly.
On the stunner.
I know exactly.
On the stunner. How did he go forward? Like, how did he roll over Stone Cold?
Right
Guys,
over him.
Please, dude, that whole episode of Raw is just it's really something.
Wild.
I think it's Hunter and Brett. I watched it recently. It's great stuff. You know what's crazy? They get smoked in the ratings that night too, for whatever was going on Nitro. And I think WWF was probably the superior show for a long time at that point.
For a long time, but WCW just had this crazy amount of momentum.
It takes time. Because 95, 96 was just rough. The first half of 96.
Oh, it was terrible. Remember who debuted in 97? You can call it a debut of the character, Kane, right?
Yeah. Kane.
Came out, he ripped the cage off. First Hell in the Cell.
Crazy.
Like I think
that kind of freaked me out when he came out. I was like, wow, this dude was
awesome.
Tall.
Dude, the lights. Cool. The coolest thing to me was the pyro coming out of the corner.
Yeah. Wild.
Why did we I was never a fan of the supernatural stuff in wrestling. Never. All the BS all through the early 90s, the Undertaker and the Giant Gonzalez and all that stuff, the Dungeon of Doom. But for some reason, Kane, I could not have been more in. And why? Why was that character more believable to me than the others?
Is it maybe because it was presented with a little bit more of a serious,
maybe
because
really him and Taker were
power. No, really, other than the pyro,
he was just burnt.
You can justify that of being like, okay, they're just setting off pyro.
It's insane that they started this story just out of thin air.
Yeah,
just one day they decided that Undertaker had a brother.
Yeah,
and he was burnt. Yeah. You know what I mean? And his parents were burned alive or something.
Arguably one of the best stories,
absolutely,
in WWE, right? Like
Hall of Famer, and out of nowhere. I mean, he was the dentist before. I mean,
yeah, he was.
I mean, you think, right? Like it's. I mean, so much stuff that's been done with that character. Interesting from PWI, the awards. Okay, so back in 97, here's some of the awards that came out. 1997, the most inspirational wrestler of the year, Terry Funk.
I guess because he won the ECW title. Yeah, it's great stuff.
The runner-up was Steve Austin, Perry Saturn.
Fair enough. How about that, eh?
Roddy Piper.
I guess he had the WCW run.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I don't know if there's another year, like another calendar year, that had more things happen than 1997. Like really, there's good years. I'm just saying, how many things started, or how many cool moments, or how many things you could be. Oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, this. That.
Ken Fury is pointing out Benoit versus Kevin Sullivan. Sorry, I can't speak. Was that 96? Was that 97? For some reason, I'm thinking. I thought maybe it was 96. I could be wrong.
I can't remember exactly. I just know they.
But yeah, I know that's great stuff. Yeah, the Great American Bash. Yeah, no, maybe it is. I don't know.
PWI says PWI the award for most improved wrestler in 1997. Do you guys want to take a crack at this? Most improved wrestler
in 97.
97.
Can you tell us? Is it an ECW wrestler or no? That's all.
A WWF wrestler.
Okay.
You mentioned him before. obviously, but you mentioned quite a bit of wrestling.
Ken Shamrock?
Yes.
Yeah, makes
Nailed
sense. That
it.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then you think of the people that are the headbangers or the runner-up. Alex Wright is the
Somebody
runner-up.
just pointed out, Greg Thomas points out the rise of DDP. That's another thing we just glossed over. DDP with the taped ribs, diamond cutting bitches out of thin air. Main eventing pay-per-views with the Macho Man.
Switch from
The
the
RKO of the
over to
90s.
the denims.
Boom.
Over to the
Yeah.
denims.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude, unbelievable. DDP, how do we forget? Giving no love, no respect to DDP. That's how much stuff happened in the year that was 1997.
like
My
DDP
goodness, we
97
need
is
more.
unbelievable.
Let's go to Joe, who's joining the show. Joe, welcome to
There he
Behind the
is!
Show.
Oh,
I
yeah.
look so tired.
Wow, what's your problem?
What's
Joe?
the problem?
Am I frozen? What's going on? Hang on.
I don't know.
There we go.
I don't know.
Hey,
You're there.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
We miss
Okay.
You're here. Oh, no. Now you're cutting out.
No, he's
Baby's
watching the
home?
other screen. You got to watch this screen.
Baby is home. Yes. Everybody's home and safe.
Oh, come on. Hang on.
Oh, jeez. What do we have? A delay?
He's watching the YouTube screen where there's like an 8-second delay. He's got to watch the URL that we.
How about this? There we go.
We good?
Perfect.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Joe? Joe, you
All right,
gotta
I'm
watch the
watching-
link that- you gotta watch the
Oh,
link
let's
that we
see.
sent
Hang
to
on.
Joe.
I got to open up this screen
Joe,
now.
We're gonna you're
I'm
gonna
new
get
to this.
boot,
This is
Joe.
the internet. Come on.
Joe, you're gonna get the boot.
It's technology, not all of our strong suits.
Good.
Get rid of me.
Yeah. Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
One thing real quick.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out. Dude
Yeah.
Love.
Dude Love.
Come on.
How do you forget Dude Love? The
Come
faces of
on.
Foley, Cactus Jack coming back,
Cactus-
all of that stuff.
Stump puller, Triple H.
Yeah, through the table.
That's
Yeah,
MSG.
all
That's Madison's.
The
that's
fact
the
that
MSG
Austin showed a little bit of like weakness.
Yeah.
Wild.
Like allowing Dude Love to like have that moment and kind of play along with the Dude Love for a little bit was like a huge thing for Austin.
Yes.
It was. I remember as a 13-year-old watching that and being so confused by Dude Love. I did
So
not get
confused.
that it was Mick Foley. It took me weeks to figure out it was Mick Foley. Like I just thought, like the same way they debuted the Patriot out of nowhere. Who the hell is this Dude Love guy? And why is he a champion? Why is the Patriot going for the belt? What are we doing?
Yeah, and especially the vignettes showing the old videotapes of Dude Love going on. I mean, man,
So-
that's
And there was
that's the
the
thing.
one episode of Raw where Sid just shows up out of nowhere.
In the summertime, right?
Which is strange because it's softball season.
Well, I think that's why he ended up leaving.
Yeah, he's on the stage.
Yep.
Yeah. You're cutting out big time, Joe. I don't know what we're gonna do here.
yeah. Joe, why don't we put you on hold and
All right,
put you on the
I'm going
side
to figure
till you
this
get-
out. I'm going to call you guys next week.
Please,
Awesome.
please, Joe.
We miss you.
Mwah.
Thanks, buddy.
So yeah, a lot of people with the love in here for DDP, for Dally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Justin said here, oh man, DDP and WCW on a video game on the N64 having the finisher from practically anywhere.
Dude,
was money.
when we figured out that we could throw a guy up, you throw the guy off the ropes, you hit the joystick on special, and he throws a guy up and he catches him with a cutter. Get out of town.
Stop it.
Get out of town. Unbelievable. DDP, taped ribs.
There's no
In the
question.
jeans.
97, best year for wrestling ever. Like no,
Yeah,
no one's
it's
gonna.
not even-
no
it
one's
can't
gonna
even be
debate it.
close.
There's too much.
Remember
we're not even gonna touch
Remember
this
the
stuff.
wrestling games in 1997, right? So
Oh.
we have WCW versus the World that came out
Yeah,
in 97.
that was the
The
one.
tour, yeah.
yeah.
I don't think
That-
the others were out yet. Maybe
No, and that was really the one
Right.
that started that whole
Yeah.
different kind of look and feel and vibe when it came to the wrestling games. I mean, that really started everything. That's where your boy Sting was, right? So he was
absolutely.
prepping in there
Great
when you
program.
guys were.
things everywhere.
Sting is everywhere from everything from like 1984 to now. Sting is just everywhere. It's ridiculously impressive what his body of work is.
Absolutely. Once again, you want to get on the show rules@gmail.com. Join the program. We only have a little bit.
Greg Thomas says, toughest question coming up: Sonny or Sable?
Yeah, well, this is it, right? Because you had the
Ah.
double spread in the Raw magazine the same 1 month. I can't remember the month, but you could either buy the Sunny or the Sable cover. I was a Sunny guy. I'm just gonna say that's what it was. I was
I'm
a Sunny guy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Most downloaded person 1997. We talked about that.
But and here's the question: was Sable and Playboy in '97, or was it a
no
little bit later on?
98, 99?
I love how you know that. No, it was 1998 March.
Let me go.
Yeah.
My magazines.
Let me just go get my copies. But it was, you know what, to think of it, it's pretty astonishing how many females that, went in and.
Oh no! What is going on here? Aaron, you're frozen. You're freezing on us now.
No, he's good now.
Is he good?
Oh, I'm good now. Sorry.
Good now.
We're talking too much about Playboy now. And
It's starting to freeze.
everything's going crazy.
Sean Beebe says, who likes Sable? I mean, look, there's a flavor for everybody out there. You know what I mean?
Hey, look who she's
Brock
married
Lesnar,
to.
that's who.
Yes.
Brock
Like
Lesnar.
Sable is amazing. She's beautiful. I love her. Please don't come after
Are
us.
you ready for the grind? Come on.
Oh God, yes, I love that. And what happened with her and Mark Merrow? I mean, remember that? Was
I don't
Mark
know.
Merrow? He was still around in '97.
Yeah, he was.
So let's get into the.
He was doing the boxer.
That's it. So let's get into the big thing in 1997 that everybody wants to talk about. So we're going to get into it right now. Remember, email us at the show. Oh my God. Email us the showrules@gmail.com. I'm off my game. Sorry. I don't know what it is. Didn't get enough Coke Zero today. The showrules@gmail.com. And then we'll get you on the show or participate in the chat. You have the one and only Jeff Parker 2.0 reading those chat comments. And I'm not sure if we've turned on our donation tab yet or our stickers.
No, we got to get on it. We
will do it next week. We promise next week we will have. I was actually talking to Carl DeMarco, who's the former WWF Canada president, and he wants to come on the show. We're just trying to figure out timing right now. It's a little bit busy for him, and he'd be great because he was the manager of Bret Hart, and probably some good perspective on the WWF at that time. And sure. Ariel Huani, former member of the In the Ring crew, and now kind of a big deal right now in the MMA world. So he's going to come on the show in the next couple of weeks. He said, "I really want
about the MMAs."
Yeah, he loves MMA.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun to talk to him because a lot of people don't remember this. He was actually on the wrestling show that we did for a couple of weeks, but he's a diehard wrestling fan, so it's going to be really great to talk to him. So let's get into this right now. Bret Hart Survivor Series, the Montreal Screwjob. Let's go through. Let's go through. Let's ask the first simple question. Okay, the first question I'll ask to each one of you: did Bret get screwed, or did the WWF and Vince McMahon do the right thing at the time?
Well, I can see it truthfully, and it's going to sound like such a non-answer, but I see it in a way from both sides. Because as business-wise, Vince has to do what he has to do. But at the same time with Bret, with how everything was done at the time, it's not just, and again, none of us really know what happened, right? We have versions of stories. And the thing about stories is a lot of the time you're getting a version of what the truth was or how certain someone remembers it. So I can see why Bret wouldn't want to lose to Shawn in Montreal. At the same time, that's just your job. So
right, but here's the thing. He signed that contract 20 years with the company. I'm going to be with the company for 20 years. Then they come back to you a year later and they say, look, why don't you go to the other guys? And he says, okay, fine. But he has it in his contract that he has creative control. Right. A limited amount.
For his last, whatever, 30, 90 days, whatever.
And there's heat, obviously, between Bret and Shawn. They're not getting along. So he decides, I don't want to lose to Shawn Michaels. Now, typically, you wouldn't be able to say that. You would just have to go do your job or you're in breach of contract or something, I'd imagine. But he has this clause in his contract. Okay. But Vince and WWF are the people who signed that deal. You know what I mean? So it's not like he was refusing to drop the belt. He just didn't want to drop it to Shawn. You could have dropped it to anybody.
Yeah, anybody.
But really they were so fixated, stubborn about it that it had to be Shawn on this day. Yeah. And I don't think it had to be. Now, but that's
all three of us are from Montreal. If they would have changed the card, so it would have been Taker versus Bret in Montreal. I mean, as a fan, I don't think I wouldn't have had any issue. I would have been like, okay, this kind of is weird, but hey, Undertaker versus Bret Hart, and Undertaker's on record saying he would have done it. He would have done the job for Bret, and Bret would have dropped it for him.
Right.
Sure.
So now there's also
But here's the other thing. I'm glad that it did happen because my God, it just turned everything upside down.
Yeah,
Glad that you said that before you read that last comment there, Jeff, because the conspiracy to this day is that this was planned all along. That
it's a theory out there.
But here's the thing: why would they have waited 20 years to pay it off, or not 20, no, 13, 14 years?
I don't think you're ever going to pay it off to the way that they're going to pay it off. I think maybe there could have just been an understanding between Brett and between Vince. I mean, Vince McMahon is a billionaire for a reason. Do you think he's going to let a third party in and videotape and be mic'd up and forget? To me, it's impossible.
But he did it with Beyond the Mat also, right?
Right. So it was a sign of the time.
It is a thing that they did. So it's not like it's and that was after Wrestling with Shadows. But yeah, is it? But that's my answer to the conspiracy of it all. Is like why would they have waited 13 years to
Would you have the patience to wait that long?
And it just doesn't come out. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I guess Owens passing away probably played a part in that too, you know. And
that's a very good point. That's a very good point. I haven't thought about
Brett's career getting derailed by a kick to the head.
Yeah.
Like, hey, listen.
So I don't know.
Greg Thomas was saying Vince was paranoid because of Alundra Blaze trashing the womenmen's belt, like throwing in trash,
but Brett's contract didn't end until December anyway.
Exactly.
So he couldn't have gone either way. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
So someone else.
But also, you made him the champion.
So Erica,
he didn't win the belt.
So Erica said, Greg, he was under contract for almost another month. The Medusa thing couldn't have happened, which is absolutely true.
Exactly. Like you made him the champion. And then decided to cut his contract. Like you put yourself in this situation.
Yeah, I feel like nobody was right in the situation. Like it's just something that
I think Brett was right. How was Brett wrong here?
Yeah, I guess.
What did Brett do?
Listen, from a reality point of view, Brett had control. He had the final say. We know what took place behind closed doors at the event. He was told it was going to be a run-in, a whole bunch of guys. He would lose, but he would keep the belt and he would drop it the next night. That's what Vince agreed to, right? We all know that that's what was the agreed upon finish. And now we all know that that's not what really happened. Now, the debate is what was right for business. Should this have done this way or should it have been this way? I think that's a really interesting conversation. I think 1997, personally, from a fan and a business perspective, I think wrestling is never the same. I don't think wrestling is what it is today. There is no attitude era. Mm-hmm. You may not have all the things that have happened, if not for that screw job in 97.
So it's funny, Jada Canadian just said, what if the screw job never happened?
What if it never happened?
Do you get the evil Vince McMahon?
Probably not. Do you?
No.
So what if
that's Austin a great question, right?
What if McMahon doesn't, that the screw job doesn't happen? Does the WWF have a giant explosion in popularity? If those two things don't happen, and those are just accidents, happy accidents. I mean, you don't want to see anybody break their neck, but it worked out.
It's a lot of things that lined up to help rocket it off into what it became, right?
So let's book it. Let's fantasy book this for 3 months out, okay? So Brett doesn't get screwed in Montreal.
Right.
He goes the next night in Ottawa. Does he drop it? How do you book this?
No, I would not. No, I think that's an insane idea from Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a promo. But I mean, Sean had done it, I guess, the year prior, right?
Sure.
So I think that's probably where he got that idea. He let him do that.
I mean,
or would he have gone to the States and lost?
In a perfect world, I would. Well, he was just even saying he'd lose to anybody but Sean. So just pivot, change the match, put whoever's over, and then have Sean beat them.
Or you do a 4-way, and you somebody else takes the pin, and you lose the belt that way.
Exactly. Make a 4-way.
There was so many ways to get out of this.
Yeah,
it did not have to go this way.
That's why I'm saying it doesn't make sense that they went with they went with the way that it's just like, huh? Why would you go that way?
It's two guys.
They're talking like they're
going at it.
They're talking like they're painted into a corner, but you're not painted. And there's a million ways this could have gone.
Well, of course. And then even though that they knew coming up the couple of days prior to, no one knew what was going on. There was so much speculation. He was on off the record talking about what was going to happen, and WCW. Everybody came. They were talking about WCW on TSN and how he was going there. So
it's funny. The evening of Survivor Series, I remember reading in the Montreal Gazette. Dave Stubbs has an article.
Dave Stubbs.
And he's talking about wrestling like it's real. And it was from that off the record that I had no idea that had happened, but it was talking about how Brett was going to WCW. And I'm sitting here and it's 5 o'clock and I'm about to go with my father. We're about to go drive to the Molson Center. I'm just like, huh? He's the champion.
Yeah.
What is, and then this is where I started feeling weird about everything. I was like, something weird is going on. And that was the first nugget that were like, things just felt off. Reading it that afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Montreal Gazette.
I think the big question is going to be, if that doesn't happen, there is no punch to the face. There is no Brett screwed Brett. There is no evil Mr. McMahon. There is no Austin versus McMahon. I mean, that could have happened, but it would have never happened with the evil Mr. McMahon character.
And that was it was also what got Vince off of commentary, right?
Yes,
he was always the lead commentary guy, and that was the first night. And that was another thing that felt weird that night. Getting there, it was like, oh, Vince isn't doing commentary; it's just JR and King. Very strange at the time.
Which is funny to think that that's strange because that just
became the staple. But that was the day that it started.
Yeah. Because and I feel like with the the Mr. McMahon character, like having that whole scenario coming to really being the antithesis of this character is you already had an emotional investment of hatred towards this character. So it wasn't just like, oh, it's a heel turn, boo. Like there was really something visceral to it. And then you had a guy that just represented the common man, and they found this way to mesh these two characters together, and man, just spoke to the world.
Yeah.
And then you think about this too. So Brett leaves and he goes to WCW. There are a lot of wrestlers who didn't show up the night afterwards in Ottawa. I think it was
just Foley. I think Foley's the only one.
I think Foley was the only one. Okay, so I think Foley didn't show up.
Pardon me?
No, I said Foley didn't show up, and I think a few other guys. I mean, mid-level guys that were pretty upset about it.
It's possible.
Yeah. Victor was just saying, real question, where was Jeff when Matt was at the screw job? My family and I had moved to British Columbia, so I missed it.
He left in June.
Man, did that hurt?
Oh, wow.
Did that hurt missing a pay-per-view? Like, I don't know if you guys understand how huge this was, that a pay-per-view was coming to Montreal, and I missed it.
You did.
Missed it. And then WCW a few years later came to Vancouver for New Blood. Was it New Blood or New Blood Rising?
Yeah, New Blood Rising.
I did not go.
No, you were. You'd already moved back.
I'd already moved back, so I missed that one too.
But I think you would have been there for Rock Bottom.
I was there for Rock Bottom. Yes, I was. But from where I was living in Vancouver was like 4 hours away. So
wow.
Matt
and I, the real 2.0 were there. So although I was the 17, 18-year-old in the crowd, and Matt was the 12-year-old asking
20, yeah,
Papa
13.
for just teasing. You were upstairs and upstairs. Oh my goodness, you were doing something asking for popcorn. I'm all out of it tonight.
Said your parents Vince McMahoned you with a screw job.
Well, how so?
Right, by moving me away from.
Oh
Montreal.
yeah.
That was the real screw job.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom writes Brian Adams left after Montreal. Oh, that's interesting. I remember Brian Adams.
Oh.
He went to WCW.
He wasn't already gone.
We're not talking about the singer-songwriter.
No. He was a big dude, eh, Brian?
Rick Rude. Was Rick Rude? Did he was he already gone? Did he leave because of that? It's possible.
Certainly.
I didn't know that Brian, honestly, I think he did.
I didn't know that Brian left after that.
Because a lot of people don't realize Rick Rude, he was on, he was live. Well, not live. He was on
the
Nitro and then a taped Raw at the same time. And you're just sitting there like, wait a second, what's going on with my TV with DX and that's happening? But then thinking, so here's another question for you. So, and it's a little sad, but think about the screw job happens. Everybody in the Hart Foundation asked for the release. Okay. And if everybody remembers, Jim the Anvil Neidhart had a famous spray down with what was it? It was WCW written on his back from DX on his back. Everybody got the release except Owen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you imagine, and I mean, obviously you can't, to play this is kind of silly, but imagine everybody in the Hart Foundation at that point going over to WCW at the same time.
Yeah, that would have been huge, eh? I mean, maybe they probably would have found a way to screw it up. But,
yeah.
But you want to funny though. So why did they keep Owen? Probably because he was the guy with the most upside, right? Like Anvil.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bulldog was a shell of his former self.
Yeah.
Owen had the most upside.
You still had, and you can use the whole situation to elevate Owen and draw some money with Owen fighting the battle for. So I could see why you don't grant him his release.
Yeah. And remember when he came back? He came back with like the hood. And
at the DX pay-per-view at the end after Sean and Shamrock. Sean wins, and here comes Owen out of the crowd. The place is going nuts.
Oh,
this could have been the start of a main event push, and it just one reason or another,
squashed.
Got to play the game.
Did not work out.
Man, you just think if not for 97, everything changes.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
everything changes. That I think when it comes to Vince McMahon, I think that black eye changed the way that we as fans look at wrestling. We understood what kayfabe was. We understood that wrestling is a phenomenal athletic show, but even though we know some parts of it can be a little bit scripted, I'm just saying, but it's actually real, and this stuff just showed how real it is.
Sure, it's real people.
And you had legitimate, talking about real, you had legitimate real competition between two massive companies like WWF almost going out of business, like these are real things, real stakes were on the line with this. And it's just a time where everything mattered and everyone had to do their absolute best. And I think it's a beautiful time of so many creative minds, creative, new, fresh ideas, an insane crop of talent, and everything just firing. And the stuff that were duds just gets forgotten about, but so many things hit on so many different levels for so many different companies. Like it's madness, absolute madness.
Yeah.
1997.
1997, the year that defined wrestling, the year that changed wrestling, the year that we will remember as being the most interesting year in the history of professional wrestling. There's a lot of amazing comments over here.
And I don't
DDP versus Savage. I mean,
it's always the thing I go back to.
Do I feel that way just because I remember it fondly in my heart, like a warm cup of cocoa on a cold winter night? Like when I think of 1997, I feel warm and nostalgic. Like if somebody with today's eyes, like if Mansoor went back and watched 97, how would he? Well, you know what I mean? Like he thinks of 2006 the way we think of 1997.
To an extent, yeah, absolutely. But as a litmus test, I always put things through my wife, because she's not a wrestling fan. Other than being married to a wrestler, she knew nothing about wrestling. A few months back, I was just going on a rant about wrestling in general, and she goes, "Do you even like it anymore?" And I said, "You sit down. I put an episode of Raw from 97,
guys,
and she's like, "That was a blast." So,
here's something we glossed over, and it was brought up in a comment. I can't even, Guy, I'm not even going to pronounce your name here, but Guy's thoughts on Eddie versus Mysterio Halloween Havoc 1997, the WCW Cruiserweight division. We just glossed it. We didn't even talk about it, guys.
But the Cruiserweight division.
How do we we couldn't even get to it?
The talent in 1997. I mean, how many? First of all, how many people from '97 are still active today? You got Mysterio, Sting. A lot of guys are still around, but at that level, right?
So you take the Cruiserweight division, right? Clearly, the large influence to what the boom of independent wrestling became, and now just wrestling as a whole. That style, that Cruiserweight wrestling style, is still something you see
like the main event style, basically.
Every single week on national TV, whether it be from opening contests to main events. It's just integrated into the style of professional wrestling is now.
And that was the key to WCW. Like they made this hybrid style by bringing everybody from Japan, from Mexico, America, mixing it all together, and kind of created the style that we have today.
Yeah, absolutely did. Whew, there's too much.
This one comment over here: Vince McMahon in the locker room before Brett punched him. You want to take a swing at me?
Well done. Yeah, there it is.
It was probably that's where it comes from.
Vince should buy the shirt.
Oh, that's amazing.
Pro Wrestling Tees, Vince.
Yes, Pro Wrestling Tees. And for everybody watching right now, remember, go support 2.0 and support this show rules. Jeff and Matt, hey, baby on the way. Every shirt counts, okay? I'm telling you, every shirt
on the way. The baby's here.
The baby's here, but it's on the way, coming out to hang out with us tonight. It's going to be up in 20 minutes.
AW Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. TSN, TNT in America.
On Fridays at 10.
Oh, yeah.
Do it all. Like, subscribe.
Dark.
Absolutely.
Dark Elevation.
And tell everybody about the show on Saturday.
We moved it to Sunday, Aaron. That's what's happening.
Tell
Sunday
everybody,
morning.
see, you know, this is the
This
problem.
was
We
the executive
need to
decision
communicate a
taken
little
this
bit
week
more.
because
Things are moving fast.
we're on the
Okay.
we're on the road Thursday, so we're coming home, and it's hard to get it done.
Yeah, so we're
You
trying
know?
to figure out what that schedule is. I think Sunday morning is for now. It's a placeholder. I think that might be the permanent.
And
home
Sunday,
for it.
it's nice. It's
Oh,
breakfasty. You
easy.
wake up. It's easy like Sunday morning.
Especially in the Northeast. The
You know?
fall is coming.
Oh yeah,
in,
it's
so
very nice. People going apple picking in
leaves
the
going
afternoon.
down. Oh, vo bum.
Oh,
It's
hey.
on vo bum. Are you gonna?
I
Take
think
your family
I think a
apple
coffee
picking?
in the morning on a Sunday makes more sense.
Right? Come on. So we're gonna
Now
be
we're
doing
talking. It's a
Sunday
nice little
mornings.
spin. That's the marketing guy.
Yeah, that's it. And then
There
you
you go,
can
there you
watch football, and we can cry about our fantasy football leagues later.
We have a
Yeah,
draft
right.
coming up.
We
When
do
is
have
that
a
again?
try in the next couple of
With
days.
a number 1 and number 2
Number
picks.
1 and number 2.
Yeah.
What a week it was.
It was.
What a week it
was
was.
an insane week.
We
for
have
us last week.
you fight Sting, you have a baby. We're 1 and 2 in our fantasy
Yeah.
league. I mean,
Signed contracts.
signed contracts.
Can't
All elite.
cross over that one.
Everything's coming up 2.0.
Yeah, it was a real turnaround.
Mark writes, you guys remember the internet obsession with turning wrestlers into South Park characters?
Wow.
Yeah.
South Park. That was
South Park started in
Wow.
'97.
yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
The world was just
Better? Was it better?
it was certainly more fun.
It was more
Yeah,
fun.
it was more fun back
We were
then
allowed
for
to
us
have
to
fun.
watch it, right? Yeah, they had a lot more liberties back then.
That's
in
for sure.
97. I think
That's
TV in general. I mean, what at its peak? I think the highest rated show for Raw was 9 million.
Whatever it was that This Is Your Life. I think that segment. I think which was fall of '99, end of summer '99.
Oh, with The Rock, yes.
Yeah, Rock Foley,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
Was '97 the peak of culture?
I think you got Clinton as your president. You got Chrétien as your prime minister.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, 97 has to be one of those years that just everything.
Jerry
clicked.
Springer, South Park, all this stuff. Like
Your Friends was
Friends,
season
Seinfeld,
2.
signed the end of Seinfeld.
Seinfeld ended in 96.
No, 98. 98. May 98 Seinfeld. Fresh Prince ended 96.
Okay, then I probably got those two mixed up.
That's
I
absolutely
apologize. Yeah.
ridiculous.
I promise you, it's May of 98.
Man,
You're
you
not
think
gonna- you're not
about
gonna
it.
catch me on a date.
Fresh
Again,
Prince, Friends, Seinfeld. I mean,
Yeah.
Raw. I mean, think of
Yeah.
all the culture in 1997.
What were
Please,
movies
if you're in the
from
chat,
97?
remind us what else was in there in 1997. Please
Something about
remind
Mary.
us.
Something
about-
so,
oh my
there's so
goodness,
much, but I
yeah.
feel like listen. And now I wonder is are we looking at, like you were saying earlier? Do we look at that with rose-colored glasses because
Maybe.
that was like?
But it was
almost our
something
time,
cool
but I
about the
feel like-
edginess of
Yeah.
97. Because in the 80s, you had Reagan as the president, everything was squeaky clean and the war on drugs. And this was kind of the end of the revolt against that.
Yeah, it was like that burst out
Yeah.
of like F everything in
Yeah.
a way because it was just
Yeah.
dirty.
Nobody
jokes
cared about
and, like,
anything anymore.
No sensitivity.
Balls to the
like-
wall.
Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know.
James writes another cultural moment was Princess Diana dies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
What a year!
that was a thing that happened.
Oh man, Nintendo 64 or PlayStation.
Nintendo 64.
all day,
Yeah.
all
Take
day.
me
64.
back.
Oh,
Take
my
me
I still,
back.
got, I still got mine in the
Chris
storage over
writes
there.
X-Files was a thing, Boogie Nights, Titanic, Goodwill Hunting, and all like this is
That's crazy, dude. Like it's the height
like
of
90s,
culture.
it's just coming out now. Like
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
1990s?
Like 97,
Blackie,
98?
Blackie George.
Yeah.
You guys remember that? No
That's
Mercy
crazy.
every day. Probably the greatest game ever to come out, and until the new game coming out for AEW, which looks amazing.
It's going to be
by
the same
way.
engine, apparently, eh?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I did
Yes,
not
the
know
same
that.
person
I'm
who did
learning
No
something
Mercy.
today. Okay, that makes me excited.
I
'cause,
wonder if we could sneak into the game. Maybe sneak
in.
into the game. That'd
Well, I'll be
sweet.
very disappointed if 2.0 is not in the game.
Video-
I'm just
Hey, you
saying.
let them know, guys. You let them know.
You let them know. You let
Yeah,
them know.
hashtag
You let them know you
2.0
want to taste.
in the game. And then Victor writes, most importantly, I graduated high school, of course, in
Wow.
1997.
We started high school
We started high school, yeah.
in 97.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't remember on my end when I finished or did that. Yeah, that'll be pretty interesting. In 1997, who would have thunk you guys would be part of a couple of a main event on a Rampage where CM Punk comes in and yeah.
Sold out United Center.
Yeah, man.
Who would have thunk you'd be
Who'da
with
thought?
AEW? You would be the two most popular. I'd say you're probably I'd say probably two most popular heels in that company right now. And
I mean, my mom certainly thinks so.
yes. Hey,
you and
by
my
the
mom.
way, I gotta say, if you haven't, and this is just no plug, I'm just telling you, if you haven't started watching Heels on the Stars Network, watch it. I watched episode number 1 last night. If you are a wrestling fan, it is so good.
Yeah.
Good, eh?
I don't know if you guys have had a chance to
Not
watch
yet.
it
I didn't have a chance to watch
Is
it
that
yet.
Cody's brother, buddy that did that?
Yes.
Amel?
Yeah, the guy from Arrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing with wrestling content is always like it's either going to be hit or miss, right? It's going to be awful or it's going to be good. So I'm happy to hear that it's good. I'm going to have to give it a check.
There's a lot of things in life. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad.
Really,
or it's gonna be good, or it's gonna suck. Yeah,
you know what I mean with wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
the what people think wrestling is, other than people who are actually close to wrestling.
What do we got? We got any more comments? Are we wrapping up here? What are we doing?
Yeah, let's wrap this thing up. And I think we decided that 97 was more than just wrestling as a great year. It was a culture of a year, and a culture of personality, as some would say. But it was the
peak of culture.
It was an amazing time to be alive and enjoying wrestling, but also enjoying all the other things out there in the world of entertainment. And it's pretty neat that we can look back now and see all these amazing things. And it's so cool to think that there's still wrestlers from 1997 that are wrestling today at a peak performance that are still amazing to watch. And to me, that's exciting.
Sometimes talent is timeless, no matter what the domain. Talent is always timeless. Artists stand the test of time.
Sting's ass is timeless, I'll tell you that.
He whooped ours, so clearly it is.
Yes. Well, yeah, your time is coming. Don't worry. We had a last question here. I want to make sure we get to this because there are a ton of questions on Reddit for you guys. So, our person asked, are you guys going to answer questions on the Reddit post from a few weeks ago on the AEW forum?
Well, I guess not.
So here's the thing about Reddit is we have no idea how it actually works. So it's
but
in the process
people asking if that is us. Yes, that is us on there.
Yes.
It is. Are people posting and stuff?
It's certainly onto the to-do list. We definitely want to try and get there and start building that up. We just got to learn how it works. And again, the last week or two has just been absolute chaos. We missed a week of doing.
We're figuring it out, guys. Hang in there, Reddit.
It's coming. We're making you wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's not like your son is only 5 days old.
Yeah, right. Come on, you got to get to Reddit.
Guy's sleeping a lot. Like I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if he's sleeping too much.
He's good. Just take the sleep when you can, okay?
Yeah.
Just trust me. Take the sleep when you can, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, for Matt and for Jeff, make sure to go to Pro Wrestling Tees, find the 2.0, the show rules information, go get a shirt. Enjoy the show on Sunday. We are going to get back. We will post a scheduled show for next week for the live show with the topic much sooner. Sorry about the late time today. We were trying to figure out if we could do it. New baby. We were trying to figure out if we could do it, and I'm glad we did it. We talked an amazing show today about 97. And hopefully, like I said, next couple of weeks, Carl DeMarco as well as Ariel Huani will be joining us in the next 2 weeks or so. And he's going to be talking wrestling, and that's going to be a lot of fun to have him on the show. What was that?
No, it's just as being the elite, a little skit that we did
with John Silver doing the Sting.
Yeah, bitch.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
We're going to talk more about that. It's going to be good. Okay, so if you want to get in touch once more, just reach out. We'll do anything you need at theshowrules@gmail.com. And remember, watch on TNT or TSN every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, or Central is at 7, AEW Dynamite. And on Friday in Canada, you can stream it on TSN, TSN2 Rampage, and they actually stream it at 11 p.m.
Stream your ass.
Get it done.
Yeah. I think they're going to change that too because of the popularity of the program. So hopefully they do. And then if you're in the U.S.
Get it done, Tony.
Get it done, Tony.
Get it done. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Aaron Amadeus. Thank you very much for watching Behind the Show. We will see you next week. The same Bat channel, the same 2.0 time.
Oh, yeah.
See ya.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.